Yeah, you see the clock on the top left. Okay, and we're live. Hey everyone, my name is Karan Malhotra. Welcome to this new episode of LinkedIn for Leaders, a weekly show that we do every week on LinkedIn to help leaders have clarity on how can they show up in the world today and help them frame their narrative through interesting perspectives. Today's perspective is through theater, drama, acting, and I'm very honored and very happy, very excited to warmly invite my dear friend Ravi Gabriel to the
Hey,
show.
Carl.
Hi.
Hey, thanks. Looking forward to our next half an hour.
Same here, same here. So I'm going to do a quick introduction of Ravi. So Ravi is the co-founder and managing director of Origami Creative and Bloombox Brand Engineers, where he helps shape narratives and identities for businesses across industries. Ravi is also closely involved in the development of the coffee brand Maverick Farmer, bringing together his love for craft and community. Beyond branding, Ravi has been active in theatre for over 3 decades, working as an actor, director, and writer. His theatre repertoire includes Athol Fugard's Playland, Martin Sherman's Bent, Jerome Lawrence's Inherit the Wind. He has also worked with a lot of new writing by playwrights like Gautam Raja, Vijay Nair Mahesh Dattani, including many original devised theatre scripts. And he is also a new author with his first book, Roots That Bind. We will come to that a little later in the show. But with that, thank you for joining us and welcome again, Ravi.
Thank you.
So, gents, ladies and gents, and everyone in the audience, we're going to jump straight into the conversation. As you can see, I've got a presentation going. And before I go into that, for some of the people joining us, do you have a theater memory with Ravi? Let us know in the chat. Would love to know if there's something that connects you and Ravi and theater. So, with that, let me jump straight into this presentation that we have for you. And we talk you through 6 concepts of theater and how you can use them to build your personal narrative, personal brand. But to set a little bit of context and get to know a little bit more about Ravi. So, Ravi, where did this love for theater begin?
I think very early on in my life, Karan, when I was probably 6, 7, uh, I grew up in Mangalore, and my father was involved in a theater group. And a lot of people today from Mangalore and actually in Bangalore who do theater and were in Mangalore actually were part of that group. And I used to be this young kid watching all of them pull out scripts and act and have so much of fun. And it was just an amazing thing for me to watch them. And I think that kind of rubbed off on me. So I always wanted to be part of theater in many ways. And I was very fortunate to actually be part of a lot of theater ever since. So yeah, my love for theater started very young, but in every phase of my life, I think it was renewed love for theater in a different way. From not just acting, from production to different perspectives to even a very spiritual healing process where we're just talking and chatting with each other and coming together as people. So yeah, love theater, love a lot about everything about theater.
That's so amazing, and I relate so much to that because, quite honestly, uh, a lot of who I am today I attribute to theatre. I attribute to that one summer workshop that I started with the Rajas in 1999, I think. So it's quite a while back. It's so amazing
Yeah,
to see that you grew up in a theatrical household in that sense.
yeah.
Um,
Talking
and
about 99, I think that's when you and I also did work together with the Raj
yes, yes, the first time,
in a play
Midsummer Night's
called
Dream.
Midsummer Night's Dream.
We
Yeah,
did 9 shows at Chowdia Memorial Hall, and we were part of the mechanicals. And the Rajas had
yeah,
done this amazing interpretation of Midsummer Night's Dream, where the fairies were all Kathak dancers.
yeah.
So it was quite fun. Um, What's a memorable anecdote? You shared a little bit, just now, but is there anything else that comes to mind?
Actually, there's so many things you can talk about from as an anecdote, but I think one thing that comes to mind is not really about being on stage, but when I did a little theater workshop with a couple of youngs, not couple of youngs, a whole bunch of youngsters. Again in Mangalore, I was invited to do this there, and my first question was go and spend 5 minutes with each other. Pair up 5 minutes with each other and come and introduce each other. That was your first exercise, and it was so awkward. No, they didn't, they were so boring, and they were trying to introduce the other, but it was just so uninteresting. And then I said, okay, now go back and do the same thing, but do everything stupid, be completely stupid, and you can make fun of yourself and be like, act like monkeys or do whatever you want and introduce each other that way. And it was so much fun because they allowed themselves to be stupid. When you get the license to be stupid, so much more fun happens. Otherwise, you end up being stupid by trying to be perfect. So that was such an interesting learning and observation for me. Yeah, so I think that's something that comes to mind.
Yeah, there's so much fun in not taking yourself too seriously.
Absolutely.
Where else besides the stage have you used your theater learnings?
I think theater learnings is, I mean, once you've done so much of theater in different forms, you probably know that you're not really learning them. You're just living those learnings all of the time. Whether it's at work, I'm in branding and advertising, so you do it with storytelling. You create these characters. You create stories around products. You create stories around films. You're directing these films. You're seeing these things come through. Yeah, so theater learnings, I think you're living them every single day. I also use it a lot with my kids. As an aside, I remember for long I was on stage and doing stuff, and then after the kids came, there was nothing to the world outside, and they said, "Hey, are you still doing theater? I've not seen you for a long time." I said, "Of course, I still do theater. I do it in the children's bedroom now. So you're always play acting, and you're getting them to be creative and finish up half-written stories or half-said stories. So you're always learning theater, and you're always using the learnings from theater in everything that you do. I believe so.
There are so many opportunities. And speaking of opportunities, here are a couple of people who have obviously shared a little bit of the stage with you. Cheryl says, "Hey, Ravi, not theatre exactly, but we performed together in a music ensemble. In fact, all three of us have performed in a music ensemble in some way or the other." And
Yes.
we also have Pramod. Hey, Pramod, good to see you over here. So, Pramod says, we've been on the same stage, me as a musician and poet, and you as a theatre actor. Bangalore
Yeah.
Express, so maybe in 2008, 2009, that was a while back.
Yeah, such memories of all of that. That was when we created content around a lot of storytelling in Bangalore, not just as a play, but music, as poetry, as photography, and that was an amazing time. And yeah, Cheryl and Pramod, have been an honor to be part of on stage with them in different ways, learn so much from them. Uh, yeah.
Amazing to have you. And with that, we are now in our, like I said, this goes by quickly. So we have 21 minutes to go over six concepts. So here we go.
Yay.
Good to, Pramod says, good to see you, Ravi and Karan. Good to see you here, Pramod. So, first one, the fourth wall. Ravi, what does this mean? Please tell us.
Okay, the fourth wall actually is an interesting thing. I mean, I just the way I interpret it is like in the olden days when theater was performed, it was performed like as though no one really existed between the front row and the last. You were always performing out there, so that everyone could hear you, and you were enunciating every word. You were always facing the audience. Your toes facing the audience. Make sure you never show your back to the audience. And then something happened with theater, right? It became very personal and intimate, so you broke down that fourth wall. It meant that you invited people into your room, into your space, And it was no longer about facing them. It was about your body language. It's about how you communicate through everything that you say, and you're bringing them into your space. And I really think the fourth breaking down of the fourth wall is so relevant to everything that we do. And since the topic is also about branding, branding really needs to break down that fourth wall. It cannot be in isolation of anything else. You need to get your audience into your space, build a relationship with them in everything that you do, connect with them, share stories with them, share a lot of your life with them, so that they love you. You're a love mark in their life. So yeah, I think it's a very interesting concept that is common to both theater and branding.
That's so true, Ravi. And it's so easy to sort of think when you're on stage, you're playing this persona, right? But then
Yeah,
people, the moment you sort of just sort of pull back the curtain and you say, "Hey, I'm talking to you,"
yeah,
oh, wow, okay, you're connecting with me. And if you can do that, like you said, from a personal branding sort of perspective, also, you really build some interesting bridges.
yeah.
So that's about the. Sorry, you wanted to say something else?
No, the fourth wall, breaking down the fourth wall also is about connecting, like I said. But so one little device that I've used a lot with theater, and I tell people I've directed, is when you're talking, look into someone's eyes. You're not just looking, staring into nothingness. Look into someone's eyes and speak. And that's where you build these connections, and you find people. This body language really pulls people into your space. And I do that also when crossing the road. When I want to cross the road and an auto is coming zipping by, I look in that auto driver's eyes and say, wait. So yeah, I use theater there too.
So a little bit of hack, people, for all the Bangaloreans, if you, just make sure you don't come across too aggressive also. But so that was about our concept number one. So concept number two, story and character arc, right? So we talk about this idea of the hero's journey, right? Where the the hero comes into a being, and then there is he has a little backstory. There's a little bit of tension. Then how is it the journey that he goes through in dealing with that tension, and he arrives on the other side. So it's like an interesting journey, right?
Yeah,
And in some ways, um, when you're watching a play, they, there's a certain kind of device, so there's a certain kind of thought that's shown right at the outset, and then you see the unfolding of that over the next 45 minutes, an hour, etc. Branding also is in a similar context as well, where you are essentially you want to take them along this journey as well, right? So which is why telling personal stories, this idea of build in public, for example, it became very popular with tech SaaS founders, over the last eight,
yeah,
10 years. But what it really does is that it breeds a certain level of transparency and invites you in, into life, sort of building in some ways on what we saw about the fourth wall as well. Something you want to add to this, Ravi?
yeah. I think I one of the tenets of the place that we philosophy of the place that we've started is that brands are human too. In many ways, we believe that brands want to say sorry. They want to feel happy. They want to look good. They want to make friends. So in that sense, building the story arc around brands is absolutely bang on. You want to create a humanized brand in many ways. So yeah, same theories apply there for the story arc.
100%. And taking that forward into concept number three, which is breaking character. Ravi, what's that?
Breaking character. Well, I think in many ways, breaking character is talking about how all of us as humans are also flawed in little ways. We're not robots. We're not engineered to never ever. I'm not talking about the product, but as a brand, right? You do make mistakes. You are vulnerable. You want to show that side to your audience in many ways. And it's how you come out of it, how you deal with it, that makes you that much more lovable, that much more connectable with. And I see that on stage a lot. In fact, when you forget your lines, or when Cheryl forgets her pitch or a key when she's singing. It never happens with Cheryl, but just saying as a as a case in
Yeah,
point.
we're breaking the
Uh,
fourth wall and inviting you into this conversation, Sherman.
so yeah, but that's what makes it that much more human and believable. And that's so I think breaking character is authenticity in many ways, right? It shows that you are authentic, you are there's something uh, flawed about you, and therefore I connect and identify with you, and I that much more meaningful to me as a target audience, as well as someone who's consuming your brand.
Exactly. I mean, you have these, for example, Anand Mahindra. One of the reasons I think everyone constantly refers to him as his personal brand, because he's not just talking about the Mahindra group, he's not just talking about his products, he's talking about a lot of people's stories. He's talking about things that he really likes. And, it breaks from this character that people associate a big company, MD, CEO should be playing. But by virtue of not sort of prescribing to that set role or set narrative, he is so much more approachable, so much more relatable to all of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You want brands that you can relate with. That's it. You don't
Exactly.
want these cold brands that don't give a damn for you. In some ways, they connect with you because of exactly this.
Yeah, yeah, and it makes you so much more human. Moving on to the concept number four, which is improv. I have a confession over here. Like, I have been wanting to do improv for like so long, and I've spoken to Bangalore. Actually, has such a vibrant improv scene. We know Anil Abraham, Tobias Sunawala, so many people who just do such amazing, improv work. And I think what it does is that, it really trains you to sort of think on your feet, right? And what you see on screen over here, this idea of yes and people have a certain perspective and they'll share it with you. But instead of sort of, immediately pushing back, and this can be maybe going into sometimes when people are being improvisational and sharing something in the comments which you don't quite like, instead of sort of pushing back, to say yes and this is my perspective, and I think therefore from the angle of, and I think a great way to understand improv also is, like you see over here, is storytelling. You understand the structure of something, and then you also understand therefore how you can break it.
Yeah,
Ravi, from you?
I think what improv, there's a couple of things, Karan. I think improv is an amazing tool also in sales, right?
Yeah.
I think some of the best salesmen are those who can think on their feet. So improv is an interesting tool that I think people should learn and understand. Also, it talks of teamwork and talks about how you can trust the team around you to also back you up, be with you, and branding is also really that, to uh, be able to think on your feet, to stand up for something when something goes wrong, to be able to stand up for something when you believe you want to express yourself, and it's also a collective of all your life experiences that you hold on to. You make these observations, and that's why you're able to reach out to them when the time comes and when it's necessary. So yeah, improv is a fabulous tool in theater. Improv is a fabulous tool, therefore, also in branding and leadership.
And life, yeah, for sure, 100%. So much that you can learn from that. Next one we have is the audience themselves. Why are the audience important, Ravi?
I think everything is for the audience. Finally, they're the ones who are consuming your story. Uh, they are consuming your play, your acting. You want to move them. You want them to react to you. You want them to give you feedback. You want them to buy your product. You want them to uh, align with your views, perhaps, or shape you in many ways. I think everything is about the audience. When we do music, it's about how we're going to make a connection with an audience. When we tell a story, it's about what story are we telling the audience, and are we telling the right story to the right audience, right? So the audience is a very important factor in. to everything that we do in theater, in advertising, in branding, in storytelling. Yeah,
100%. And when I sort of from just the work that I focused on, and actually I think on both of us, right? When we're doing branding, whether personal or for the company,
yeah,
ultimately you're writing for one person. Who
yeah,
is that one person that you want to select? And of course, you have people on either side of it. But if you're
yeah.
trying to be everything for everyone, you're likely you'll be nothing for the one in a lot of the time,
Absolutely,
right? So
absolutely. Absolutely, and that's why I'm using an example of a creative brief for advertising because that's the basis on which brands and storytelling is formed. Is who are we talking to? Who is your right? And similarly, Shakespeare would not probably be best for an audience that's 6 years old, right? You need Walt Disney for that. So your audience is important for whatever you do. Yeah,
context plays such a huge role. And lastly, bringing it home, concept number six. So, costumes, right? The both how you dress and present yourself, as also your visual brand. In how
yeah.
consistent are you? Like, for example, I use this example quite a bit. So, Ravi, if I ask you, when you think of KFC, what colors do you think of?
I think of their red and a blue, and of course the image of their chicken in a bucket. So
Yeah. So I mean, you have the red, black, white, and blue
yeah,
in some places. But let's say tomorrow you go in and suddenly it's pink and purple polka dots. The font everything is the same, but the color scheme is completely different. It would
yeah,
likely make you question the product also, right? Whether
absolutely.
is it the same? So therefore, this idea of consistency plays such a huge role, and don't shortchange the idea of first impression. So keeping your online presence current and intentional, updating your brand look as your story also evolves. Ravi,
Yeah.
you want to add something to this?
I like the way you've called it costume, but that's so true, right? I mean, even in a play, in theater, uh, you want to suggest a certain period, you want to suggest a certain attitude, you want to suggest a certain mindset or an age that the actor or the character that they're playing is from, or is trying to reflect and express. Uh, and the same with brands. You can't have a young Gen Z brand that is old and fuddy-duddy with a deep blue and in a black. You want it to be a vibrant new age color and font that goes with that very young digital Instagrammable stuff. So yeah, it's so true and so common and to theater and branding, the identity
Yeah,
and costume.
identity and costume. Color itself is the reason why all more often than not are blues
Yeah.
and greens, because it communicates the sky and the sea that and you feel communicate a certain level of stability. We have one question that just come in from drumroll Aditya Mendon's another OG of Bangalore theatre. I think that's you, Aditya. But Aditya asked, "What's the best of being spontaneous and adapting to?" I think he was asking about improv. So, what's the best part of being spontaneous and adapting to this?
I think you can be spontaneous and adaptive to the audience if you first of all are sure who you are, right? Being very sure about in theater terms of your character and what your character stands for, in branding terms what your brand and your product stands for and the role that you play in the life of your target audience or the audience that's sitting in front of you. I think when you're very clear about it, you're very sure about it, and you believe in every cell of your body what you stand for, you're able to be spontaneous and yeah, and that's amazing. The
Yeah,
ability to be spontaneous.
to be spontaneous,
Yeah,
right? Inadvertently, I think in doing that as a practice, you get more and more
yeah,
comfortable with. So you get so comfortable with so many surprises that actually nothing really phases you
Yeah,
in many
absolutely.
ways. Thank you for that question, Aditya. So those are the six concepts. We have a couple of more. We have the last 5 minutes, and I have a few more interesting slides coming. So, Ravi, why do you feel leaders should focus on articulating their personal brand today?
I think for the same reasons why a Nike stands for what they stand for, and to differentiate themselves from, say, an Adidas. I don't know if that's the best example to give, but there is a certain sea of sameness. They're not just shoes. They stand for something. They make you want to do something. They make you want to act on something. They make you want to push you into getting on the road on and working out and believing there's an inner athlete in you. Right. Uh, that's what their brand stand for. The same with you. How are you? You're a leader. So is the next person in a conference, perhaps. How do you stand out, and why will someone want to seek you out more than somebody else? And that's only if you are differentiated in some way, while being authentic, while being genuinely yours, while being honest to your what you stand for and your belief system. But if you do, it needs to be out there, and you need to strongly stand. It's your battle cry, it's your calling card, and that's why you need to build a personal brand, um, and that'll hold you in good stead. Yeah,
That's also 25 years of branding experience talking right there. You know,
absolutely.
so a couple of slides and a question that's come like, okay, what is one thing you can talk about every day for the next?
What would I talk about? That's it's an interesting question because uh, I think it's simply connecting with people. I just love the idea. It's not what I would talk about, but I just love to talk to and talk with a bunch of people. If there's anything that's oxygen in my life, it's other people, because when you're always with other people, there's so much to learn, so much to observe. You can translate that into consumer insight. You can translate that into storytelling. You can That's fodder for for the next ad that you're creating, or the next play perhaps that you're writing,
Yeah,
or the next that's also inspiration for the next character you're directing on stage. So yeah, that's something I can. So what moves me, what's my oxygen is people, and I could do that every day of my next 1 year.
amazing. Great question. And that, ladies and brings us to drum roll the fact that Ravi is the author of this book, Roots That Bind. The photographs from a recent book signing and book reading we had. Ravi, tell us about the book.
Well, I think what I should tell you really is not so much about the book, but how it started. And I've been writing pretty much in different forms all my life, whether it's with branding, or whether it's white papers, or boring technology white papers, or whether it's copy for brochures, or it's brand stories or brand essence, and here and there a couple of short stories. But I wanted to, create develop a stamina to write something longer. And I thought the best way to do something longer was to make it my journey to express learnings and observations, and stories that I heard from others, and bring it all together in some form. And that was my attempt. Roots That Grind is that attempt. It's probably semi autobiographical. There's me, a little bit of me in every character there. Uh, and there's a little bit of a lot of my friends and a lot of people I've spoken to also in that book. So that's Roots That Bind, my first novel. Yeah.
Book out, Ravi. I'm just going to quickly share the link also in on Amazon. Definitely. That we come to another, and we're right on time. I'm going to cover six key points here. If the internet gods, continue to support us, putting out. One second. There you go. So, fourth wall. Breaking the wall can lead to more authentic. Focusing on your story arc. Your brand is a journey. People connect with evolution, not perfection. Breaking character, realness matters. Dropping the performance at the right moments builds trust. And the next video,
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, go
or
ahead. I blanked out.
thinking. So improv, thinking and acting in real time builds confidence, trust, and presence. The audience defines the relevance of your audience, know who you're talking to, and confident cover. How you show up visually and stylistically before you speak. And we do have one. I want to share the link, but we have one question from Lata Ravi. If I just quickly take that.
Okay.
With the plethora of experience, you describe brand Ravi.
Brand actually is, I like the use of
No,
the
no,
word. Can you hear me?
correct. Correct. Yeah, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. King, how would you describe brand Ravi, which is like Ravi the brand, because you have such a plethora of experiences.
I think you've defined brand correctly. I don't know about brand Ravi, but a brand is really a plethora of experiences. And I am fortunate to have this a plethora of experiences thanks to a lot of interesting people around me all the time, Lata, including you. I keep them coming, all of you.
Amazing. We have one more question. I'm going to take this last one. How does being in theater help you become more effective as a creative leader?
I think theater puts you on the spot. And spotlight, maybe pun intended, but spot all the time. It really makes you uh, believe in what you do, believe in the character that you portray, believe the character that you write about, and to make a character more believable and credible, you need to know not just what's written down there in the script, but also the backstories and your own stories that you're creating and you're absorbing from real life. That makes you that much more insightful. That makes you that much more, connected with what's happening around you and grounded. And I think in that's how theater does, in some way, help you in life and in everything else that you do in life. I highly suggest that everyone work with theater in some form or other.
In some form or the other, right?
Yes.
And thank you for sharing that, Pramod. With that, ladies and gents, thank you for joining us. I do want to bring that up again. I couldn't get the link for whatever reason it wasn't, but thank you for joining us for yet another LinkedIn for Leaders Live. We do this every Thursday. Next week, Roots Are Bind, you'll find it on Amazon. Next week, we have Robin Donicki from Zen Show Japan, where just like today, we've taken a creative pursuit and drawing a parallel between theater and personal branding. Next week, martial arts and personal branding and research. So, drawing interesting sort of parallels over there. Thank you so much for joining me, Ravi. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you, Karan.
Um,
It was fun.
Great to have you, and see you guys next Thursday. Thanks for joining.
Okay.